Hey there, YouTube. Welcome to Big Mike Beard Wisdom. So, we're in the Sonata today, and it's kind of one of those things where my passenger front tire kept going low, and it was going low a lot. So, we're talking like 10 PSI in a day. So, pretty decent leak going on there. And really, this is kind of one of those videos where it's how to recognize a bad shop, which I kind of hate talking about. Because being a mechanic, it's kind of one of those things where, you know, you kind of see good shops and bad shops, and there's good techs and bad techs. And really, one single tech can kind of ruin a person's impression of a shop. But in this particular situation, it's probably the whole shop. So we'll pretty much break it down from the beginning. So I took my car in. I wanted to do a tire rotate and balance, and then to repair the passenger front tire. I used to work for Mills Fleet Farm part-time in the service department back when I put the tires on the car. So I got a pretty decent discount on my Hyundai Sonata's tires, the Defenders that are on it. But the nice thing they used to have is that you had free rotate balance repairs and then, you know, a road hazard through Fleet Farm. And with that passenger front tire going flat a lot, I was like, oh, why not? I'll bring it in. So I called, set up an appointment, and I wanted a tire rotate and balance and that tire repair. Yesterday, I brought the Sonata in for the appointment. Basically just walked in, saw the guy at the counter, said, hey, I'm here for the appointment to get my tires rotated and balanced and the tire repair. And normally what they wind up doing is they give you a form like this, and it should have something where you sign it saying, yes, go ahead and do the work. They never gave me that form. A little bit strange, a little bit out of the ordinary. Maybe they changed policies. But what I wasn't able to see was that instead of having a rotate and balance, they just had a rotate on there. But, I mean, the big reason I'm there is for that tire that's going flat. So, you know, at least the tire repair was there. The cool thing is that when you buy tires there and you get the complete package or the gold package or whatever they call it nowadays, it's free for those. So, you know, no skin off my back, just the time it takes to be there. So I got there at about 1:30. Plenty of time to kind of get everything kind of set up. The appointment was at 2, so it gave me some shopping time. Now, the bad part is that I didn't get out of there until about 3:30. So, depending on if they were running late and other things, there should have been plenty of time to have done the full rotate and balance and the tire repair. But there's a little bit of funny business going on here. So normally, if I'm going to have the tires rotated and balanced, I mark the tires in some way, shape, or form. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll pick something that's the same on all the tires. So maybe I'll color the M on the front tires and the N on the rear tires. Or I may switch it up. That way I know, hey, you know what? Driver's side front tire was the M. Passenger side front tire was the I. You know, that driver's side rear was the C. That one was the H. That way you can see how they did the rotate. Because if you want a cross rotation of the tires, which is the proper way to do it, then at least you know that, hey, they rotated it properly. And then you know visually when you come out to check it out. Because hopefully they reset your tire pressure sensor locations. That way, whenever you say, hey, something looks a little bit low, it's for the correct tire, as opposed to you being sort of surprised as to which tire is actually low. Now, when I came out, I saw the tires were on the car, which is always good. And you always want to kind of double check things. So like you want to make sure your center caps are there and in place. Now, my center caps were a little bit frosty, which was strange because if they balanced it, they would have to pop the center caps out. So I know they didn't balance the tires. And on this side, the valve stem cap itself was the wrong style of cap. So you've got TPMS style caps for the rubber sensors, or you've got like your standard valve stems. And the reason why is because that TPMS valve has that like kind of like unrubberized brass section back there past the threads, whereas like a normal valve stem would just, you know, you'd have the threads and then go right into a rubber piece there. So there's a special cap that goes on the TPMS ones. So that helps to seal because you have an O-ring up here that seals, but also it's kind of like a water and moisture control kind of thing that the longer cap seals down here. So it's important to make sure that you've got the right caps. I came out and had just a normal cap. So I immediately took the cap back off, went inside, said, hey, could I get the right cap? Got a cap that it should have. Probably not my cap, but, you know, it's kind of one of those things in a shop. I understand stuff gets mixed up. But it's when you look at this tire that it goes, wait a minute here. So this stuff here is a lubricant that you use to mount and balance tires. So if they rotated the tires, my passenger front that was leaking air should be on the rear somewhere, either on this side or that side. So the fact that this tire has this lubricant on it means that either they didn't rotate the tires or the guy attempted to repair the wrong tire. Which the kid came in and was talking to me a little bit about it because he was like, I barely figure out what was actually leaking. He found a little piece of metal in it or something, but he didn't really actually think it went through the tire. So I don't know. As soon as I got home is when I noticed the lubricant, and it's just one of those things where I gave him a call back. Didn't hear anything back. So I have no idea if they repaired the right tire and just failed to rotate them, or if they rotated the tires and then tried to fix the wrong tire. Now the tech said that he did rotate it. He said it kind of weird though. He said they rotated it as an X. So, you know, that might be a cross rotate, or he might have just gone, you know, straight X shaped, which is not the right way to rotate, but, you know, to each their own. I just wish I knew what happened exactly. That way I knew what was going on. Which brings us to the tire pressure sensors. So the Hyundai Sonata has unique tire pressure sensor IDs for each one, just like most other cars. The nice thing is that the Sonata will actually break it down as to which one is in what location, which means they have to be learned. And it isn't as simple as, say, just driving the car. So on here you can see I've got driver's side front is at 39, passenger side front's at 33. That was the tire that was going low. Both rear tires are at 38. So if they did the rotation, then theoretically that passenger front tire should be somewhere on the rear now. So if it's 33 psi, then one of the rear tires should be 33 psi. And in checking the tires, both rear tires are about 38. And then that tire over there is at about 33, 32 psi and stuff like that on this gauge. So I'm willing to bet they didn't rotate it, and that he just did the repair on the tire, and that's it. Even though the mechanic said that he actually rotated it, and he was actually giving the service writer a bit of a hard time because the service writer had him complete the actual paperwork. So whenever you have work done at Mills Fleet Farm, or Fleet Farm now, I forgot the day when they got bought out, the name changed. But essentially, it just lists out the condition of your car. It's really kind of like an upselling sheet, but it also breaks down important information like your lug nut torque spec and stuff like that, where your tires were at, what they checked, or in this case, didn't check. And the signatures all look like junk. All this was filled out essentially at the table inside after the service writer said, hey, you need to fill this out. And the kid just sat there, filled it out. So he's got what I'm assuming to be 9:30 seconds for the tires. If you guys saw my video on the Michelin Defenders, they are definitely not 9:30 seconds. So I've got about 30 to 40,000 miles on these tires. If I remember correctly, they're like 6s and 5s and stuff. So, you know, obviously he didn't check anything there. Tire pressure, I'm assuming he's got 37s written in there, which, I mean, definitely not 37s. So this is pretty much the same PSI as it was last night when I left the store. So, you know, he didn't fill up the repaired tire quite all the way, because I think they're supposed to be 36. So that's a little bit strange. And then if you look on here, they've got lug nut torque spec 125. In the book, proper torque is 65 to 79 foot-pounds of torque. So if that guy just filling this out at the desk actually torqued them, which I kind of doubt, But if he did torque them to 125, that's over 150% what it's supposed to be. When you over torque wheels and stuff like that, you can risk like kind of like stretching the lug studs, and essentially you've now weakened them, and they can break and just snap off, and then you're racing your tire down the highway. So by now you're probably thinking, okay, the tech that he had sucks. Well, here's the thing. He went to one of the other service writers / mechanics and stuff that was there, and she signed off on the tire service checks, which it's Fleet Farm policy, because believe me, I know, that they're supposed to double check it as well. So they didn't even double check it. She just rubber stamped it, and then I got this. So yeah, really not happy about it. So as far as this goes, it's kind of one of those things where I would highly recommend not going to Fleet Farm in Owatonna for anything automotive related. Now, if you're buying stuff, that's cool. But if you're having them put stuff on, it seems like things have changed a lot. It's been 3 years since I worked there, and it looked like pretty much everybody's rotated out. So there isn't anyone there that I know anymore. The nice thing is that I can go to different stores. I don't have to go to the Owatonna store back to where I got the tires at. I can go to any other Fleet Farm and have this done. And it's kind of one of those things where the Owatonna Fleet Farm used to be the devil that I know. Now, I'm not going to go with the devil that I know. I'm going to go with somebody else. So if you guys wind up going to a shop and things aren't going quite the way they should, they don't give you the paperwork right away like you should to sign it, it seems like things are taking a little bit too long, then maybe something bad's happening and they don't actually know maybe what they're doing. The other thing is definitely double check your stuff, because like over here they have you acknowledge as soon as you get the receipt and stuff like that, so as you go to pay out, that you've checked your stuff. So if you haven't already checked your stuff, you might not know that your center caps are loose, or you might not know that your hubcaps aren't snapped in all the way. It's just kind of one of those things that, you got to be careful of different places. And now I know, can't go back to the Fleet Farm in Owatonna. Now, hopefully, maybe they get it in someone decent. So I was kind of lucky that for me, when I was there, I was the ASC certified master tech that helped fix things when there were problems. But as far as I know, they probably don't pay enough for there to be another ASC certified master tech. And I'm willing to bet that the Owatonna store just has a bunch of high school, college kids. So guys that aren't very professional, judging how that kid was, asking the service writer if he's good enough yet. Is this done? Is it done? Is it done? Did I do enough paperwork? So, I don't know. Really kind of disappointed. But it's just one of those things that if you guys run into a situation like that, definitely let your money speak for you. So instead of going back to that same location, go to somewhere else if you have an option. And with cars being kind of a really large investment for everybody, it's one of those things where not only is them messing up, say, a tire or something like that, or doing questionable activity costly to you if something should happen, but it could be detrimental for someone's health, be it your health, your family's health, the family of someone going down the road when your wheel came off and then you slam into them kind of thing. So it's one of those things where that's a huge safety risk if this kind of stuff happens. And it's also one of those reasons why a lot of mechanics don't always trust other mechanics, because we know. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe, and I'll check you next time.